And right now at 6:30, we're seeing how a new tax increase in Greenville County will affect your wallet. You can see the numbers right here. The new 7% mill rate in the county means on a $100,000 home, you will pay an extra $28. On a $200,000 home, that'll be an extra $56. And on a $300,000 home, it'll be an $84 increase. So council approved the new mill rate last Friday in a tight 8-4 vote and avoided a government shutdown. And this is the county's first tax increase in 30 years. And for much more on this new budget, we now want to bring in Greenville County Council Chairman Dan Tripp. So, Mr. Tripp, thank you so much for joining us. It's been about a week now since you passed this budget with this mill rate increase. What's been the majority of the reaction that you've been getting from residents of the county? I'm sure it's pretty mixed bag.
Right. I mean, yeah, you get it. We're definitely talking to a lot of different people and a lot of different reactions. Ultimately, no one likes to raise taxes. We didn't want to raise taxes, but after 28 years, we came to an informed decision that we had to do that. And it was a modest increase. It wasn't, someone called it a power grab, a money grab the other day. It wasn't. It was $28 on $100,000 in property. So if you have a $200,000 house, it's $56. $300,000, so it's a pretty modest amount for Greenville County.
And you had mentioned those numbers, and I think a lot of the concern came with reassessment that we'll have in 2025. And so a lot of residents were worried that this increase was going to be on top of reassessment.
Right, and that's one of the, Mark Twain says, facts are stubborn things, opinions and statistics and political slogans are a little more flexible. Here are the facts. Okay. When we have a reassessment in 2025, you'll see the value of properties go up, but you'll also, by state law, we are required to lower the millage. So we're going to increase millage this year, but next year after reassessment, we'll actually reduce it. So we will not see an increase in revenue on the county side from reassessment. Period. End of story.
Okay. So it won't be this increase on top of another increase.
Correct. That's correct.
To balance it out.
And not only that, we've got to do 2025 budget in the next couple weeks. One of the reasons that we do a 2-year biennium budget is so that we lock in the millage rate for 2 years. So when we vote on the budget in a couple weeks, we're not voting on an additional millage increase. It would be the same millage rate increase for the 2 years. So that holds it consistent over the 2-year period.
Okay, you had to get to 8 votes to get this budget increase. One of the swing votes there that came back in your favor was Councilman Russo, and he had said that what swayed him was without a tax increase by 2027, the fund balance would drastically drop and expenditure costs would exceed the revenue coming in.
Right.
How does that happen?
So here is the thing that you have to think about when you're looking at Greenville County budget. We're in the current fiscal year of 2023. We're working on 2024, which will kick in July 1st. We're also working on 2025. But the budget staff is also looking at 26 and 27. So any given time, we're looking at a range of 5 years of numbers. We can't just wait until 3 months before to figure out and forecast what those numbers are. So staff is constantly looking out. We have a AAA rating, which means that our budget staff is highly professional and they're used to forecasting. Okay, so the point that we kept trying to make in the budget process is we're not budgeting for this year or the next year. We're looking at the numbers 5 years out, and what we see is the longer you get out without stabilizing the millage rate, you're going to see the numbers are going to get even worse in 25 and 26. And so I think that's one of the things that Joey saw. When I got elected chairman earlier this year, one of the things that we really focused on was peace on council. I don't know if you remember, the last couple of years has been very contentious
Sure.
would be the right word. And what we did is we came together on council and said, we're going to have disagreements, but we're going to do it in an agreeable way. And by and large, we've tried to do that. There are a couple outliers in that scenario, but there's about 10 members of council that have tried to work together, whether we agree or disagree. And so I think in this budget debate, I think what you saw was that goodwill that was bubbling up that allowed us to have an adult conversation about not just here and now, but 2, 4, 5, 6 years out. And that's what ultimately swayed Mr. Russo, I think.
And I think something too, where you were mentioning about the different narratives that were coming out during these conversations and these back and forths. Back to that 2027 that swayed the councilman. Some people may look at this, and you had heard it as this debate was going on, that there was mismanagement. Someone may hear that line about the fund balance would drastically drop and the expenditure costs would exceed the revenue coming in. Somebody may look at that and say that's mismanagement.
You know what? And that's a fair assessment as an outsider not understanding the process. But let's look at, again, back to the facts. The facts are stubborn things. We have the lowest per capita of employees of any county in the state. Okay? That means that we have the thinnest margin of staff of any county in the state. Before this budget, we were number 4 in terms of millage rates. We're now number 7. Spartanburg, Anderson, all the surrounding counties have a higher millage rate than us. We have not raised taxes in 28 years. You can't do that if there's a money grab going on, if there's mismanagement. Greenville wins awards regularly for their budget transparency, for their budget practices. I mean, you can go online and not only look at the budget that we have now, but you can look at audited financial statements. There was a member of council that was, a former member of council that was saying, we need to go hire an independent auditor. We already do that. And it's online, and you can look back, 5, 10, 15 budget cycles at the audited statements that we have. So that is easy for people on the outside looking in to just throw out the charge of mismanagement. But I would challenge them to look at the facts, and the facts don't lie.
Okay, and you said part of that transparency, and part of that is you sitting here with us
this
evening.
And that's one of the reasons I've gotten on this show and other shows to be able to talk about this and really talk about reality and talk about the vision that we have for Greenville. And that vision is quality of life. You don't have to be fiscally irresponsible to have a quality of life. Greenville is a growing area. We've got an embarrassment of riches in the upstate. And when you look from the northern parts of the county down to the southern parts, we're blessed in Greenville County, and we want to keep it that way.
Okay, Chairman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Justin.